they're already up over 200 miles an hour. Up on the high side right now, Matt Ridgway in that number 13 car. Good looking car.
Yeah, no, he was. I talked to Matt Ridgway before the race, and he was pretty stoked about this. They did a couple practices going into this. He's got a lot of speed, and he feels like he knows the lanes to take. And he's hooking up with the other Ford out there right now, and I think they're going to make a pretty good show out there in that top line.
And I'll tell you right now, up at the front of the field, we have a lot of familiar faces. Kyle Wellman, Jeff Ward, Matt Ridgway, Brian McRae, Nick Akier. But at the back of this little pack at the front, we see two new faces, Cody Jones and Kyler Wagner, doing a very good job of keeping up with the regulars in this series. And we see up on the top side there, Cody Jones in the 77, just trying to keep it off the wall. But right now, Kyler Wagner all over the back bumper of that number 83 of Nick Akier. We've got a battle for the lead right now, side by side. Those two drivers go door to door. That is Matt Ridgway and Kyle Wellman. Really gonna have to...
I think there's a little bit of contact right there already.
Absolutely. It looked like there was some contact, and that kind of shuffles everything up. Jeff Ward goes to the high side now, but the real winner in that was Brian McRae, and the 12 was able to get by both Jeff Ward and Matt Ridgway, and he's going to slot in the second position right now.
I'll tell you what, Brian McRae, he's raced in just about every SESRA race you can think of, and he really excels at the super speedways. He's one of the draft masters, and he does a real good job at just kind of knowing where to put that car and know where the pole's going to happen to pull him up to the front. So it's you know, this is the group I was thinking was going to be up front early.
Absolutely. A lot of experienced sim racers up at the front. And like you said, I feel like a lot of these experienced drivers that maybe cut their teeth in games like NASCAR 3, NASCAR 4, might be a little bit more akin, more at home here in this slingshot old school draft. Because we're seeing right now that they're able to really work together and kind of make themselves at home at the front of this field. And I like to point out someone to watch right now, that number 6 car of Stephen Aboigi, and I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. He actually asked to start at the back of this field before the race because he wanted to make sure that he could get a feel for it. And he's already worked his way up into the top 10. He's running in 7th right now, and definitely doing a good job of working his way up. Maybe one to watch. Man, he's got Kyle Wellman on the outside and Kyler Wagner in that number 93 right behind him. And you can see these cars dancing over the banking. A lot of bumps on this configuration, and these cars are definitely going to do a bit of jostling around. In fact, you can see right there the number 93 of Kyler Wagner gets a little sideways, but he stays in it, and he's able to keep that second position or that second spot on the inside. Yeah, I'm very impressed right now with some of these newcomers at the front. Kyler Wagner, Cody Jones, and Steve Aboigi. All of them doing a great job right now at the front, racing very clean, but definitely being aggressive, trying to get to the front of this field. That's definitely something we like to see. And that's another thing about this kind of racing, Jason. We're used to that modern day sort of speedway racing where you've got to stay flat out and kind of ride the brakes if you want to stay off the car in front of you. But in this racing, you can really crack the throttle and kind of use that to your advantage to use that slingshot. We saw the 11 there get sideways up at the top of the and he had to get out of it just a little bit. But he's not going to lose the draft. He'll just tuck in behind this field and work his way back up. Absolutely. These drivers are getting around this track right now. They're going 200 miles an hour through the corners. Oh, and right there, we've got an accident. The 77 of Cody Jones and the 6 of Stephen Aboigi getting together. Both of them are going to continue, but some damage to those two cars. And it looked like he just got in the wall. The 77 of Cody Jones just got in the outside wall. It went around on him. Aboigi had nowhere to go. And our good friend Jeff Ward, also involved in that, got into the outside wall. Absolutely. And definitely one of those racing deals. I don't think anybody really made much of a mistake so much as it was just not a lot of room coming off a Calamity corner there. Turn 4 gets real narrow, especially when you're running flat out and loose. Absolutely. And gotta hate it for Cody Jones and Aboigi. They were doing great up in the front there and just kind of got caught up in that. But as we say that, Kyler Wagner in that number 93, a new face to the SESRA series, and he has been running fairly strong this whole race, keeping his nose clean, and he's finding himself in the right place at the right time. Running behind our leader, Matt Ridgway. And up at the top, Nick Akie has been trying to get that top. He can keep that momentum rolling, but he's just not been able to make much progress out there. Doesn't have much drafting help. The 12 of Brian McRae kind of starting to lose touch with those leaders, and the 11 of Kyle Wellman as well.
This is some hard racing these guys are putting in right here. As we see Brian McRae, he's starting to get back up to Kyle Wagner there, so he's still in the picture. Well, we just saw Nick Akie. Something happened here. He is down on pit road.
Yeah, I believe Akie got involved in a bit of a skirmish there. Damage to the backside of that car. And he was running that outside line. Just got up into that outside wall. Got caught up in the safer barrier, which doesn't exist in 1987, and just found himself, he actually got upside down, kind of dug into the grass there and rolled over. So tough break for Nick Akie.
So down to 4 here, surviving the open. We're at about lap 15. It looks like we have about... Okay, we're 10 minutes into this, so we got about 20 minutes left. That's a long time. Look for some of these guys to get repairs that were in that early incident and come back around for this thing.
Yeah, I mean, you want like we said, there's no transfers really so much as it is an audition. We want to see. So if you can go down pit road, get that damage fixed, and go back out and turn some clean laps, and maybe do some more work behind the wheel, maybe you can still make your way into the big show later on. And some bad news, Jason. Our good buddy Jeff Ward has retired from this event. Apparently, the damage to his number 55 a bit too much to continue.
All right, let's see if we can get down to the pits and bring Jeff Ward up in here to tell us, kind of walk through the beginning of that race.
And while you're getting, there's our buddy Jeff Ward. Jeff, what happened out there?
Yeah, it's built to the back there. Was just kind of riding, getting a feel for some of the newer guys that were in there with us, and looks like somebody might have got up into the wall and bounced off there. There's nowhere to go, but it gets so tight coming off the corners there. When you're on the high side, you really got to watch that. But yeah, we'll see if we can't get them next race there, Steve. Kind of caught the raw end of one there.
Well, it's a tough break, but you got some practice laps in, and we know you like driving these old school cars around. No restrictor place, lots of speed. We're definitely going to be pulling for you in the next one, Jeff.
Yeah, we'll go out there and give her hell. And I saw a couple guys that looked pretty good out there. The number 6 was real smooth, and I liked what he was doing. Was kind of following him there for a little while. So hopefully the next one we can stay out of trouble and get a win.
Sounds good, Jeff. Good luck.
All right, thanks, guys.
And Jason, I don't know if you saw the number 13 of Matt Ridgway a few laps ago got sideways, lost the lead. Kyler Wagner inherited the lead and led quite a few laps while we were talking to Jeff, but he got loose. I'm not sure if there was contact. He got loose, and an amazing save. He kept that off the wall, almost crashed 2 or 3 times, and he kept her going.
Yeah, that is amazing.
This has been the good old battle royale. We have seen quite a few cars dropping out, going down pit road. As it stands right now, Brian McRae in the 12, our leader. Only 2 cars right now up in that lead draft. That'd be Brian McRae and Kyle Wellman. Currently, Matt Ridgway in the 13, who also got way out of shape a few laps ago. He's running 3rd. Kyler Wagner coming back. He settled in 4th after that big dirt track move at 200 miles an hour. And Dakota Bennick, we haven't talked about him much today in the 73 car. He is running 5th right now. And I got to say, he stayed out of trouble. There's not a lot of damage to that car either.
I'll tell you what, Dakota Bennick, he is a newbie to the Premier Series here, our top tier series, which is now the Classic Championship. But he has been running in our short track series. He's got a win there. He's been real consistent. He's been doing a lot better since he showed up. So it's awesome to see him start trying out this higher tier with some of our top drivers and competing with them now.
That is awesome to hear that he has decided to move on up and have some fun with these old school cars. So much fun to watch these. And if you remember, Jason, near the beginning of the race, Jeff was talking about that accident. The 2 drivers that were involved in that were Stephen Oboigi and Cody Jones. And the 2 of them have actually locked up and been drafting back and forth. They're running 6th and 7th right now. Their car's a little worse for the wear, but they're still able to hold speed at about 195, 200 miles an hour. So if they can keep clean and finish this race, they might get some good news at the end of this event.
Yeah, no, this is exactly what they're looking for. You know, you don't want guys who are just gonna take one hit and call it done. You know, the Classic Championship's gonna have 200-mile races in it. So, and it's gonna run on the Classic points. So, you know, you can take a hit early on. Yeah, you're out of contention to win the race, but those positions, those points still matter over the scope of the whole series. So you're going to need some guys who are going to, risk it to biscuit, get back out there, capture what points they can, and finish those races strong. So we need some drivers with a lot of grit, and we need some guys who can stay clean and are motivated and mature drivers.
Absolutely. And Jason, just a lap ago, the 93 car of Kyler Wagner, heavy, heavy, heavy contact to the inside of that wall coming off of turn four. Turn four has been quite the danger zone today. He pushed up into the outside wall. It got sideways and he made serious contact with that inside wall. He is sitting on pit road right now with a very damaged race car. That is some bad news for the 93 of Kyler Wagner, who showed a lot of promise at the beginning of this event.
No, unfortunately, we didn't have a camera on Kyle Wagner when he hit the wall right there. So, we'll have to try to get with him a little later on, and hopefully we can see him in the next race. He's real competitive. Was looking good up until that last one.
Well, it's a little bittersweet. I mean, he did just crash, but he didn't take anyone with him, so that's kind of a good spot. He didn't take anyone out. He just got out of shape and bent the car up a bit. But back at the front of the field, we see the two leaders, Kyle Wellman and Brian McRae, really going back and forth right now. They just made their way around the car. I believe that is Aaron Roth. No, that is not Aaron Roth. I'm sorry. That is the 15 of Bryson Moorhead, who just went a lap down. Bryson Moorhead in the 15. He's going to tuck in behind our leaders and try to turn some good laps right now.
That's another thing. Position doesn't matter for these new guys. We've went over and over that we're looking for clean drivers, level-headed guys. So, just play it smart. If you got leaders coming up on you, tuck in behind them. You definitely don't need to be cutting them off or racing them hard for position or anything like that. That's not what we're looking for. So he's playing it real smart here, tucking with them, and stay competitive and stay clean. And that's definitely what they're looking for here.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, from both sim racing and real racing experience, whether it be in practice or a race, if you can tuck in behind those fast guys, you can learn a lot really fast.
Yeah, and like I was talking about Brian McRae, and especially Kyle Wellman. Kyle Wellman's kind of that ghost when it comes to the super speedways. He's a lot better than what you think because he's so much better at super speedways than he is at all the other courses. Like, he excels at this, and so he kind of ghosts out, becomes the gray man. You don't think about him until you get to a super speedway, and then you're like, wow, where did this guy come from? This guy's really good. So I guess it would be the opposite of Ricky Stenhouse is what I'm mentioning.
No Ricky Stenhouse in here. And I don't know if you saw that sportsman move there by Aaron Roth. He was about to go a lap down. He spent quite a bit of time on pit road fixing his car, and he saw the leaders coming up, and he pulled down on the apron to let them go, and he's going to duck in behind them and get some experience as well. So great move by Aaron Roth.
I'll tell you what, for the guys, when we're talking about we're looking for grit on some of these guys, Aaron Roth is 100% that. Just take a look at that car. I don't think there's a straight panel on it, but he's driving it clean for what it is. I mean, this car on this track is a handful as pristine. So the fact that that thing has looked like it's done everything but dented the roof, he's doing real good out there. He's got it clean, calm, cool, collected, doing a real good job. And, that's another thing. This is going to be a hard list. I don't know how many the marshal, as we call him, Brian McRae, our comp director, was looking for bringing in, but it's going to be kind of hard to negotiate who gets in and who gets out from this race.
You're not lying. I mean, it's going to be a real Sophie's Choice decision because, to me, all of these drivers have shown a lot of promise, and nobody's done any super aggressive moves that have put anybody in peril. Everybody seems to be staying out of trouble, turning laps, trying to keep their noses clean, and another new driver there is going to go a lap down. That's Daryl McCall in the 14. That Daryl Waltrip throwback.
Ooh, hard in the wall, though. He looks like he went high to stay out of the way of the leaders, but that ended up just getting tight on him. Got into the marbles, got up against that wall there. So he took some damage there.
And I tell you what, these cars are very difficult to drive on that high line because they're dancing so much out there, and you kick it a little sideways, you can catch that wall quick. And you're carrying so much speed around these corners, it's not a lot of time to react. So very tough break, but he's actually kept, I mean, he didn't really lose the draft. He's going to tuck in behind the Earnhardt duo there of the 15 of Bryson Moorhead and the 6 of Stephen Aboygi. They're both a lap down, but they are racing for position back there, the 6 and 15, right behind our leaders. So, you know, we've got 2 cars on the lead, well, 2 cars in the lead draft right now, Brian McRae and Kyle Wellman, but right behind them, the 6 and 15 racing for position. And the 14 of Darryl McCall, who's running 7th right now, is going to lose touch with the leaders.
Tell you what, let's bring up the track map real quick, because I think Matt Ridgway, who scored third, he's still on that lead lap. You know, he is slowly but surely starting to gain on these leaders. I don't know, and it's strange because I don't feel like he's drafted on anyone, but he is moving.
Well, these front two, the 11 and 12 of Brian McRae and Kyle Wellman, are probably so focused on racing each other. You know, you're going to scrub a little bit more speed off if you get it sideways, or you're trying to, you know, cut down to pass somebody. And if Matt's back there just running solid, smooth laps, he might be able to start ticking it off. I mean, the draft definitely helps, but without the restrictor plate, you can still turn some speed here.
I tell you what, if that's the case, this race is going to be amazing. This is going to be really awesome because, yeah, he's definitely clicking it off. He's down to about 4 seconds out right now, and which is just last lap he was 5 seconds out. So he is barreling down on this group here. He's still going to be a factor for the win of this thing.
Yeah, and you know, I'm riding right now with Matt Ridgway, and he can see the leaders in front of him, and those cars are just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. And the more that these two drivers jockey back and forth, the more opportunity he's going to have to catch them. As we just saw right there, Kyle Wellman in the 11 gets around our leader, Brian McRae. They were side by side. They're not drafting. They're not going as fast. So that might reel him in. Matt Ridgway now, man, he is under 3 seconds. He's actually catching them fast, Jason.
Yeah, no, he's got the pedal to the metal here. He's got that forward pinned and coming in quick. So if this lead pack doesn't get in single file and start rocking some laps down, I think he's going to be up there in the mix with it looks like 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, 7 minutes to go. Kind of a paradox. That's still quite a long time, but also not a lot of time at all to get it done. You're you know, clicking off laps here in about 43 seconds and change. So he is catching, I tell you what, Jason, he is catching him about a second a lap, and that is incredibly impressive. He is using that T-Bird forward horsepower to really rocket his way up to this lead draft.
I'm telling you, if it's not this lap, he's going to catch him on the next one. And he's going to have a head of steam. I want to see what he's going to do with it here when he catches his pack. Oh, but he gets tight. He's driving in hard. And I think he got into the dirty air finally. And he put it up against the wall here. Unfortunate for Matt. He was driving that thing too hard that time.
Absolutely. You said it right there. Even though these cars not very much downforce, they're still very aero dependent. You know, the mid to
the 11 goes around.
Kyle Wellman, our leaders, the whole lead draft is going to end up crashing. And here comes Matt Ridgway, and he is going to...
Oh, he can't get around the 11.
Wow. We have got quite the kerfuffle right here at the front of this field. And I'm not even sure who's leading this. I think it's Kyle Wellman in the 11.
It is Kyle Wellman. It's Kyle Wellman, but I don't know how much damage he's got. Now, oh, here comes Brian McRae. He's got more speed now. But he's got some heavy nose damage on that thing.
Boy, that whole thing, every single driver up at the front involved in that accident. I thought Matt Ridgway was going to sneak his way through. He couldn't get on the binders quick enough, and he got into the back of Kyle Wellman, and everybody just going around trying to get back up to speed right now. Brian McRae at the front of this field. Kyle Wellman running second. That hasn't changed. The 6 and the 15 also running side by side. Honestly, the real loser in that whole situation, I think, was the 13 of Matt Ridgway, who was trying to catch back up and just came around the corner to see a bunch of cars sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, you can't change lanes in these car in the turn. We saw that. That's what caused this whole thing. Was Kyle Willman was in the top lane trying to come down to the bottom one, and that car just ended up getting too loose on him. He couldn't counter steer out of it, and so Matt Ridgway went into the turn choosing the bottom lane, and unfortunately that's where all the cars were, and he couldn't get it slowed down fast enough. So that's why he ended up getting into the back of the 11 there. But man, he tried, and yeah, he got the short end of that straw, because after all of that, nothing has changed. Like, we still have Wellman and McRae fighting for the lead, and Matt Ridgway, unfortunately, about 5 seconds back.
Yeah, back to square one. And right now, you see Stephen Oboigi in that 6 car. He's going to try to get his lap back, or at least race with these leaders a bit. With the 11 and 12, their cars look like they just rolled out of the junkyard, but they're still turning 190-mile-an-hour laps around this track for the lead. Yeah, right now, Matt Ridgway in the 13, he's only turning about 100. He is going to come down pit road. He was turning about 175-mile-an-hour laps. I think a bit of engine damage to that 13 car. Very unfortunate. But back up at the front, Kyle Wellman, Brian McRae, and Stephen Oboigi in that 6 car. He is a lap down, but he is just going to run with those leaders anyway. He's actually going to get his lap back right here, the good old-fashioned way. No wave around, nothing like that. He just drove by the leaders.
No, it's got to be a good feeling to know that you finally got the speed on those leaders to get around them like that, especially with these cars all banged up.
Yeah, I don't think we have any clean cars left on this track, but definitely turning some quick laps still.
I tell you what, I think we got Matt Ridgway on comms here. If we can get him up here and have him walk us through what he was trying to do on that last lap.
And Matt Ridgway not out of this race. He's actually running the apron right now, trying to finish this race off.
Finishing strong. There we go. He's got about 2 minutes left of this race.
And our leaders are going to go side by side again. In the 11 car, Kyle Wellman's going to come down pit road. I'm not sure if that's what happened there. Yeah, number 11 of Kyle Wellman, who is battling for the lead, he is bringing it down pit road currently.
Yeah.
And that's going to leave Brian McRae at the front of this field by himself with 1 minute and 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, he did a quick pit there. I'm not sure what it was for. Possibly a penalty. Maybe he got loose under the commitment cone and had to commit and at least stop for that penalty.
Yeah, I do kind of wish that iRacing would give us the ability to turn off pit road speeding. You know, back in the day, there was no speed limit on pit road, so...
Okay.
I'm thinking this is a fuel issue because Brian McRae, our leader's coming down,
Yeah.
so I think they're topping off on fuel.
Yeah, everyone is doing that. This is going to change it up again. This is amazing. This gives Matt Ridgway another chance.
And yeah, 48 seconds left. I mean, we're going to come back around to the white flag, it looks like. So I wonder how many of these drivers thought maybe they could go the whole way and realized, wait a second, we can't. We got to make a pit stop. And right now, Kyle Wellman crossing the start-finish line with about 30 seconds to go, and he is going to start coming up on Brian McRae. McRae's going to start blending up onto he's between turns 1 and 2 right now, so this race is going to be close. Kyle Wellman rounding turns 1 and 2. He is going to end up on the backstretch, and right in front of him is going to be Brian McRae, and Wellman's going to go around him.
With a huge head of speed. He had way more gears winded up.
Absolutely. About 25, 30 miles an hour, it looked like. I think he was able to get it down pit road just a bit quicker than Brian McRae.
Well, we saw his pit stop, and it was split second. I mean, it was a splash of gas. And now I'm hoping he's got enough to make it. It looks like he's slowing up. Could just be the turn that he's letting up for.
Yeah, the time has run out on this. I believe we're on the white flag. The next, they're going to come around, and they make a little bit of contact. Brian McRae, with just a little bit of contact, he got really loose, but he's going to have one more opportunity to see if that slingshot can work.
He's bringing a lot of speed into this turn here. This is going to come down to this last turn.
And he's going to look on the outside. He's got just enough speed. Brian McRae around the outside of Kyle Wellman. Brian McRae with an excellent move. He is going to cross the line, and he is going to win the SESRA Open here at Daytona. Man, I did not see that coming. He got past like he was standing still on the backstretch, and it just shows you how strong that draft is in these cars.
Man, I tell you what, we talked about how you don't need the draft, but we just saw right there how much it can benefit you. So, these next few weeks, these guys are really going to be dialing in when to cash in on that draft, when to just use the raw speed of these cars. And I think this was an awesome race. This was an awesome Open. As you know, we're going to take a short break and switch over to the race with our veterans, and we'll see if anyone was able to make it to transfer tonight. If not, I'm sure we'll see some of these names that we saw next week.
Listen up. The soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. They're still using whatever bar their mommy bought for her little man. Is that what you want? To smell like mama's little man? Ugh. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men. Or don't, and continue to be mommy's little helper.
Bucket, coolant. Oh, amps it right out. The bucket. See how long it takes to wear through the coating.
Welcome back to E-Racing TV live at Daytona International Speedway for the SESRA Classic Series and these wonderful 1987 Cup cars. We've got the Chevrolet Monte Carlo, the Ford Thunderbird, and we just got done watching a heck of a show in the SESRA Open, and Brian McRae was able to pull off the sneaky victory over Kyle Wellman there just out of turn 4. And right now, these drivers are practicing for the big show, as we're going to call it. I tell you what, Jason, we saw quite a few incidents. We saw a lot of action, a lot of drafting. Man, that first race was the edge of your seat sort of show.
Yeah, if you're just tuning in, make sure you go back and rewind that beginning race because that was awesome. There was a lot of talk leading up to it, what we were going to be looking at there, especially in the circles of with Brian McRae, the competition director with SESRA. You know, we weren't even sure if it was going to be something to broadcast. Recruitment races kind of bring out all kinds of characters. You get all kinds of personalities and a lot of mixed skills. Some guys who aren't ready for something as serious as some of these other guys want to take it. So we finally decided, you know, everyone deserves their shot. Let's put them all out there, and we'll see what the broadcast looks like. And that was an awesome show. That was a really awesome race. Had everything we wanted in it. Had all the action for sure. So hopefully some of those guys take the invite. They make it to this week's race. Right now, if not, hopefully we see them come back and race with us some more.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to make that choice because if it were up to me, I'd be bringing most of those drivers over. I think they did a pretty good job of keeping their nose clean. Couple accidents, but nothing really egregious in the sense that they were driving silly or making stupid moves. Just a lot of running out of space. These cars are already difficult to drive. So if you're running up on that high side, that wall will jump out at you really fast.
Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of these guys are going to have a chance to learn more because so this secondary race each week on Thursdays we're going to have the open race where anyone could show up, get into the show, and then after that it's just going to be our SESRA veterans, the guys who are locked into the $3,000 championship coming up. It's just going to be for those guys to start filling each other out and learn who they're driving around. And there's going to be a little bit of bonus points they can earn in the preseason here also. But the guys that are doing double duty, doing the double header race in both of them, they're just going to learn these cars that much faster. I think it's a big chance for them to fill out these cars and be more competitive coming into the series.
Absolutely, and just to bring our viewers up to speed, for those who have been watching the Open and would like to know this, or those just joining us, Brian McRae ended up winning that first event in the number 12 car. Kyle Wellman ended up second. Dakota Bennick in the number 73 with a great run, kept his nose pretty clean the whole race. He ended up third. Matt Ridgway, who was on that head of steam trying to catch the leaders, got involved in that accident. He ended up fourth. Bryson Moorhead fifth. Stephen Aboygi sixth. Daryl McCall seventh. Cody Jones, Kyler Wagner, Aaron Roth, Nick Akie, Jeff Ward, and Daniel Keith Jr. round out our field. So that first race was quite the show, and I'm expecting to see no less, no different here in this second race. I know these drivers are experienced, and they race with each other every week, but at the same time, this is a tough combination to really nail down. These cars difficult to drive, very fast, and this track a big handful. So I was thinking, Jason, you had mentioned it earlier, that these cars get kind of difficult to drive in the corners. And, not only are these Cup cars heavier than a modern day Cup car just in curb weight, but with the aerodynamics, they're a lot heavier feeling to drive. It's really hard to get these cars pulled to that yellow line at the bottom. So it's really easy to wash up the track and get into that outside wall, especially when you're behind another car and don't have any downforce on the front of the nose.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a lot of work on these cars, and everyone's having to relearn these cars, or not relearn them, they're having to learn them. These cars, nothing like this has been on the series. And let's see, I'm just hearing from the competition director we might be having an issue here. So I'm going to take a quick break, go down, talk to them, and see what I can find out for us.
Well, I'm not sure if we're at commercial. Jason Anderson said we were
Yeah.
going to take a quick break. So I'm not sure if we're at commercial or if we're still on the air. So I'm just going to fill the time with my expertise and colorful commentary. So as it stands, just to fill everyone in, it seems like when they created this server, there may have been an error in terms of eligibility. They may have misclicked something, so a lot of our regular drivers are unable to join. So I believe they're going to make a new server so we can get a full field of cars for this. I was wondering why on my entry list I only see 7 cars, and yeah, I believe we are going to switch over to a different server to alleviate that oversight, which will make this race even more exciting now that we're going to have probably double the drivers.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. There was an issue with the server. Stuff happens like that, so we're going to delay the start here. We're going to cut back to another break, and we'll be right back with the race server here in a moment.
Listen up. The soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. They're still using whatever bar their mommy bought for her little man. Is that what you want? To smell like mama's little man? Ugh. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men. Or don't, and continue to be mommy's little helper.
Alright, we're gonna add a bucket, coolant. Oh. Amps it right out. Out of the way. Alright, we'll add the bucket. See how long it takes to wear through the coating.
The year is 1987. The sun is hot, the beer is cold, every man has a mustache, and the string bikinis are so revealing you need 2 haircuts to pull it off. Welcome to E-Racing TV's presentation of the SESRA Classic Series here at Daytona International Speedway. We just got done watching a heck of a show, the SESRA Open, where we saw some new faces, some fresh talent, and a great race to the finish where Brian McRae beat Kyle Wellman to the line. And Jason, I tell you what, we're getting ready to watch a whole other show, and this show's just going to be as good as the next.
Oh man, I think it's going to be a little bit better because, you know, we had a few of our veterans in that first race, but we brought the cream of the crop over from that first one into this one, and now we got all of our veterans here. So this is all the guys who have been racing with SESRA from the beginning, plus the new guys that we just picked up that were hitchhiking their way to Daytona, and we're going to have a hell of a race, I think. This is going to be... I'm expecting nothing but greatness. This is 30 laps. The last race was 30 minutes, so it's a little bit different of a tempo, but I think everyone's going to be pushing it to see what they can get done here tonight.
Well, I think this race, you're going to see the heat cranked up for this race, because the last race, we had a couple guys who really wanted to get to the front and win that race, but we also had quite a few guys who were just trying to keep it cool and turn some clean laps and try to prove themselves. So for this race, they've made the cut. So we're going to see the excitement cranked up to 11, because everybody now in this race is going to want to go home with a trophy.
Yeah, speaking of trophy, Joseph Tice is here. This man's got a collection of trophies, especially just being our last SESRA double winner, winning the SESRA 600 out of our weekend that has both the Indy 500, SESRA 600 races. So he finished second in the 500, first in the 600, and plus he was last year's pro championship. So this guy is a hell of a driver. He's done nothing but great things in SESRA. So he's here today. He's going to show these new guys what it's all about.
I agree 100%, and some familiar faces from that first race. The number 6 in the last race, the number 7 in this race. That's Stephen Aboigi. I'm hoping that I'm really hoping, Jason, that I'm pronouncing that correctly. There's a lot of vowels in this name, and I'm just hoping that I'm giving it some credit. But we also have some new faces for me. We've been working together for a little bit now, but guys like Chase Meredith, Danny Roach, Paul Shunk. I'm interested to see what they're going to do because they may not be new to SESRA, but they're new to e-racing TV. So I'm very excited to see how these drivers shake out.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, I mean, for all we know, they just bought a wheel from Best Buy today, and this is their first day on the service. So, who knows? These guys could be closet champions. No one even knows anything about them yet, or they could be learning the ropes, and what a better place than do it. I mean, you're only going to get better racing around faster guys, and, there's a handful of really standout, awesome drivers here that when I race with them, I love just tucking in behind and learning everything I can. So this is a good group to be in for sure.
Absolutely. You made a good point. I'm curious to know if those drivers are aware that they're being streamed live on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick, YouTube, Facebook, and the like. E-racing TV with a wide reach with our viewing audience. So whether they know it or not, they're going to be on our show, and let's hope they put on a good one.
Yeah, I think for some of these guys, it might be a little too much pressure right off the get-go, so we'll kind of warm them up to that idea. But it'd be awesome if in the next couple weeks we can bring them up into the booth and let them know this whole time they've been in front of thousands of eyes.
Yeah, congratulations! You're the star of our show. You didn't know. It's like the Truman Show.
Yeah, exactly. So here we are in the Truman Show series.
Yeah, we've got a couple drivers who have no idea they're in the big times right now.
Oh man, this is awesome. We got some awesome looking cars out here. Some other guys we haven't talked about yet. Hayden Wheeler here driving the 68, the modern Spartan Systems TVT green oil additive machine. It's a clone of the Kelly Girl car driven by, I'm going to test you.
It's Janet Guthrie.
That's right. Yeah. Headliner there. This is an awesome throwback that he'll be running the whole season. And he's real proud of it. Totally supports supports that whole thing. So this is real good for him. But yeah, he's been up front the whole Top Flight season for everyone following along with our last series. And, he's only going to do great things in this preseason and all these exhibition racings coming up.
Now, Jason, you kind of alluded to it a minute ago. I was under the assumption that some of these new faces to me were, maybe some SESRA drivers who had taken a season off or something. But based on how we set up this this server for this race, it seems like we've just got some people walking in off the street. So that's going to add an element of danger because they're not sure how these drivers are going to drive. They don't know how predictable they can be. So definitely could be an interesting race once we get rolling because a handful of these drivers never raced in this series. So very interesting.
That's a very good point. Danny Roach here and this number 16 Pepsi machine, we haven't met him yet. This is a wild card. Paul Shunk, I think we were talking about earlier, obviously from Indiana, or just loves Indiana. Hey,
big Indiana fan.
Big Indiana fan. Awesome to have him out here. But yeah, I mean, who knows? A lot of our drivers, the veterans, they've been racing around each other. They know who they can push, kind of what limits they can get to, and all of that. So these guys that don't know that, they might be roughing up the wrong guy. Like, Brian McRae or Matt Ridgway, I don't think I'd want to be all up on their bumper coming out of turns. But yeah, those new guys will figure it out soon enough.
They absolutely will. They'll find it out either the easy way or the hard way. And I'll tell you what, I'd rather find it out the easy way. I mean, I will say these drivers that have entered this race, I mean, they know that they're in a league race. I assume because the lack of password protection, they felt like, all right, well, we'll just give it a go. So I'm hoping they show some respect out there and maybe put on a great show. I mean, this isn't just a typical hosted iRacing race. This is the SESRA Classic Series. So they're definitely aware what they've entered. So I'm really hoping that they are able to put on a good show and keep their noses clean.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing some carnage come up, though. There might be a couple cars that aren't quite ready for this. We just saw Chase Meredith in the 15 there slide up in front of the field and kind of wipe out the pack there. Last race, getting all twisted up with my seasons and series and championships. Last race, we saw a pretty much clean race the whole time. So, I mean, it was pretty awesome to see the drivers with this much talent with this cars on this track. It's real hard to drive. Saying real hard is an understatement for how much it takes to drive these cars and to get these machines around at these speeds, especially when you're too wide in a pack. So hopefully we get that same kind of racing in this race here.
Now, Jason, I don't want you to get too excited, but we just had a driver enter our series here, and the name is George Crenshaw. And if we have any hardcore NASCAR fans that have been watching series for a long time, George Crenshaw, if it's the same, used to race in the Goodies Dash series in real life back in the 90s. George Crenshaw in the 19, I'm not sure, we can't really confirm if that's actually him. Kind of a unique name, so I'm just going to roll with it and say that's George Crenshaw from the Goodies Dash series. So that could bring an element into this race as well.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see it. I mean, maybe if he's running a custom paint, it'll help kind of tell the tale, but we'll definitely get our investigators on it right away. I mean, I know we got Jeff Shrewberry back there in the booth. He's doing nothing but rumming through papers right now, so maybe we can put him on the case and see what he can dig up for us.
Yeah, Jeff's wheeling and dealing behind the scenes. A shout out to Jeff Shrewsbury, who helps us every week. He doesn't get the fame and the glory like we do, Jason, but he's still here every week, and he works hard to do it.
I'll tell you who I'm happy to see is hard charging Dalton Kilrow out here. We saw him, we watched him in the Top Flight Computer Series doing a real good job, especially when it came to the trucks in those last 3 seasons, or last 3 races of the Top Flight Computer Series. We see him out here. He's driving an 88 Chevy, the Daddy O's machine. From Daytona Beach, Florida. Looks like a haircut shop. We'll have to get him into the booth. Hopefully we can get him in here later, see what he's doing. But, you know, he ended last season on a high note. That was definitely the momentum he wanted to bring to this new season. Even though there's a break, there's going to be some preseason races, some exhibition stuff before the season starts in January. But, you know, we got all fall and winter to dial this car in and make sure he's good to go for the $3,000 series.
Absolutely, Dalton Kilrow. And, you know, Dalton Kilrow really showed some strength when we switched over to the truck series. And of all the series we ran, the trucks are the most similar to these cars. I mean, they're obviously more modern than they drive a little different, but, you know, at the core of it, they kind of drive similar to these 87 cars. So I'm definitely going to keep my eye on Dalton Kilrow. And if he does the good old thing he usually does, he'll probably start at the back and be at the front by lap 10.
Yeah, he was always kind of hiding in the back there and waiting for his chance to get up front. So, yeah, this is a race he said he liked super speedways, so we'll see what he's got tonight.
We've got a lot of drivers connecting to this race right now, Jason. A lot of new faces. This might as well be the open mixed with the big show, because we have got a lot of faces here, and I am really, really excited to see how this race boils out. Because as we speak, I mean, just in the past minute, we've had 3 new drivers connect. That's Zachary Emlett, Andy Stone, and Jake Moser. So a lot of entries in this here race. We're going to see, and see, that's the thing I like. That's a real throwback to the real age of NASCAR, because back in the 80s, if you had a group of friends and a car, you could show up at Daytona and race with the big boys if you were fast enough. And we're seeing that right here on eRacing TV, and I think that is the best simulation for this era of racing.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just a mixed bag, but with that, you get a lot of crazy wrecks like this right here. It's almost reminded me of the Sportsman series.
That's exactly what it reminds me of.
You know, it was real awesome. You got to see, you know, mom and pop shops and, you know, weekend warriors roll their cars out. But unfortunately, it killed some people. So, I mean, luckily, no one's going to die unless there's a horrible catastrophe with someone's force feedback. Barring that, no one's gonna die. But you know, it's a mixed bag, and it's awesome to see everyone get out here and give it their best, and they're giving 100% tonight.
Fun fact about the NASCAR Sportsman Series, Jason. They actually had penned that series to do some races at the Daytona International Speedway, and the Speedway said, nah, that's not going to happen. We saw what's going on at Charlotte, and we think that's big enough. So maybe this will be our Sportsman Series race at Daytona that we've been missed out on these whole years.
There we go. You know, we weren't sure what to call it because it was pretty much an open. It was open up at everyone because we had those server issues earlier. So, but it's not really the open. This is the Sportsman right here. You got some of the old champions out here, some of the old drivers that's still looking for that win, and then you got the Weekend Warriors who just got done MIG welding that chassis together, and they're ready to see what it's got.
Yes, and some bad news. Paul Shunk has left the server. I'm not sure if what the reason. Maybe he'll be back. I'm personally disappointed because I just enjoyed saying Paul Shunk.
Yeah, Paul Shunk with that Indiana fan car. That's a big loss. You know, not that we're trying to sham him in front of what could be possibly up to 40 million household viewers. We're just really bummed out that he didn't make the race here.
Yeah, I'm not trying to shame him at all. I was looking forward to seeing what Paul could do. Personally, a fan of Paul Shunk. I had only seen him race just today, but, you know, maybe he'll come back. Maybe he just got disconnected, and maybe he'll come back.
Yeah.
Good news. Good news. Paul Shunk has re-entered the server. He is back in it to win it.
Oh, man. Just in time as the qualifying period is closed. So right now, the order you're looking at is going to be the starting order of the race. That's going to be Casey Clark and Joseph Tice on the front row of this thing, kicking off the 30 lap.
Yeah, Casey Clark, I believe, one of those drivers who kind of waltzed in off the street with a great qualifying effort, qualified second. Danny Roach, another driver that we don't usually see in this series, he qualified in 6th. Chase Meredith, Tyler Davis. So this is quite the mix-up. And I just saw in the chat, Bo Stencil, a new name as well. He says he's coming to the front. So I'm going to keep my eye on him just to see if he's telling the truth.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of like calling your shot like you're Babe Ruth. You either back it up or you better have some awesome show to a reason why you're not about to back it up.
I tell you what, we have got a full field of cars here at Daytona. We have got, man, there's some names in here I'm going to have to practice. Elias Tollefson, Eugene Tuminello, Charles Balance, Zachary Emlett. So definitely some interesting names and some new faces. I'd say half the field is new drivers.
Yeah, no, this is going to put a lot of stress on Brian McRae and Kevin Dye. Kevin Dye, think of Kevin Dye as well, he's your race admin. He's the lead official out there, and it's his job to keep a clean race. So if he's not driving, he is going to be busy waving those flags around and making sure people are minding their P's and Q's in here. The one thing about a mixed bag with a big group of people like this is you never know. You get some wild cards in here who are probably about 8 to 15 beers drunk. Pretty much, just think of Clint Boyer after a hard weekend, and he's just looking for a good time. So.
Well, our buddy Bo Stencil, who claimed earlier he was going to the front, has just asked, is this being streamed on Twitch or YouTube? And it's both, and Facebook, and Roku, and Amazon Fire Stick. So, Bo, let's hope you're putting on a good show to race to the front and not just a show, you know?
Yeah. So Bo's ready to drop the hammer. As we see, I think that's a 35 of Inmino and Toya rolling out to the field here. It looks like he's going to want to roll to the back. Let's see where he's from. I want to say in that Lightning McQueen car, he's got to be from Brazil. I'm putting my finger on Brazil. Have Jeff check the tracker on that, the entry list.
Eugene Tuminello is from Florida. And Eugene might be fast, but right now his ping is at about 1,000, so that that may play a big part in this as we move forward in this race.
Now, for everyone at home that might be a racing fan that doesn't understand what a ping is, think of a ping as maybe a real shoddy engine. You never know when that thing's going to blow and you're going to be out of the race. What it is it's an internet connection, but once he loses that connection, he's going to be out of the race. So we equate that to the same thing as rolling up with a custom-built open engine that you have no idea what's in it.
Absolutely. You know, mechanical failures can happen in the car or in the server. Some of these drivers may not have the best internet or may not be in a location that can keep that ping nice and low. So that's definitely something that'll play a part throughout this race.
All right, before we get to the green, Steve, I want you to call it. Are we reckoning turn 1 or are we making it to the backstretch?
I say the first 10 cars will make it through turn 1, and it's going to be a wild card from there on back.
Mixed bag from there on back. All right, top 10 cars. That's going to be Dalton Kilrow in 11th place starting here, slinging it in wide, I think.
Yeah, Dalton thought better of starting at the back in this race. He'll be starting 11th. Pace car on pit road, and we're going green flag racing here in the SESRA Classic Series, and already the drivers looking 3 wide. Joseph Tyson, that mellow yellow number 11, is going to pull out to an early lead. Casey Clark, our newcomer in that 36 car, holding strong on the outside. And he's going to have Kyle Wellman, a familiar face, did very good. And already we have a pile up in turn 1. I called it, Jason.
Yeah, we got the 24 of Sam Mazzo on his lid already. That's unfortunate. He is stuck upside down like a turtle on the back of his shell there. His buddy driving by didn't roll him over, so he's going to have to get that thing towed before he even has a chance. But the racing continues here.
Yeah, the 24, the 29, I believe, and yellow flag out on the track. I think where yellow flag is probably because of the 24, Sam Mazzo, sitting on his lid. We've also got a crash off of turn 4, it looks like, a big crash. Quite a few drivers involved in that. Hayden Wheeler is going to throw the caution flag because he's acting as one of the admins here.
Yeah, we had the back of the pack really tear it up that time. Some big hitter. Man, ARCA breaking like crazy there. Someone came in late to the party but made sure to make an appearance. And they were.
I'll tell you what, we've got the Sportsman Series in full song already.
Yeah, some of our veterans aren't going to be happy about that. We had Dalton Kilrow involved in that. Jason Taylor, a 500 winner in SESRA. So, you know, he had some big hitters involved in that one. Unfortunately, Nick Akie was also involved, but just a little bit of damage. He keeps rolling here. Yeah, that's why, I mean, it's not always the safest to start in the back like that. Especially with these cars, you know, it's not easy to drive, and that middle of the pack is going to get bunched up about 3 wide, and that's just going to make it dangerous the whole time.
Absolutely. We were kind of expecting it. I wasn't expecting 2 crashes on the first lap. We're going to see a lot of drivers come down pit road to fix this damage. But I tell you what, Jason, we saw in that open event earlier, you know, even if you've got a little bit of damage, that doesn't mean you're out of it. These cars have a lot of power, and the lack of restrictor plate means if you keep your foot in it, you might be able to stay in that draft.
Yeah, that's true. It looks like we had some repair options here. These guys are getting some quick fixes done. They're going to get back out there. So I mean, that's always kind of a double-edged sword when you do it like that, because you know, sometimes you got some guys that need to sit it out, kind of watch it, and see how everything goes, and to actually learn from that experience. A quick fix just kind of takes all that away, takes that learning curve out, and they just go out there and try the same thing they just got done trying.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. You know, Sam Mazzo was sitting on his lid about 2 minutes ago, and that would have definitely been an end of the day, possibly and even a free trip to the hospital. But he's got a fresh car, and he's going to go back and try to round 2 and see if he can work his way up. Now, I'd like to point out, Bo Stencil at the beginning of this race, called it. He said, I'm going to the front. And already in just the one lap of green flag action, he has passed 10 cars and avoided all of those accidents, and he's sitting in the top 10 already.
You know what? He's got that Bell South car plugging right along. He called it out. He's backing it up right now. You know, he's a good old Georgia boy, and something about that is they don't know any better not to back up what they say. There's not a whole lot of thinking in there to be conniving in that sort of way. So, you know, maybe he's right. Maybe he's got a little more tucked away in that 23 car than what we're giving him credit for.
Absolutely. I mean, that's not only a good-looking race car, but as we stand right now, that driver is holding his word. You know, he said he was going to the front, and so far, he's an honest man. So I'm going to keep my eye on that 23 car throughout this race.
Tell you what, another car that we saw that we need to keep an eye on once we get going green again here is going to be the 13 of Matt Ridgway. That thing, he was fast AF last race. We saw him chase down a pack of cars that were in the draft even. Caught him. Unfortunately, they were already wrecking, and he couldn't get out of that. But look for him to be making a move as this race starts winding down.
Yes, Matt Ridgway was so fast. He was catching them a second a lap. And unfortunately, the leaders got together there. They all crashed, and Matt had nowhere to go and just ended his opportunity to win that race. But he's got a fresh car, a new mindset, and I'm looking to see him go to the front very quick. And also George Crenshaw, the possible Goodies Dash competitor from the 90s. I like to believe that. I don't want my hopes and dreams to be crushed. So I'm just going to say this is George Crenshaw, the actual George Crenshaw. And he's shown pretty good. He's passed 8 cars. He stayed out of trouble. And hey, you know, if he did race the Dash Series back in the day, he knows his way around this track.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, it says he's from Carolina, so this could be the guy.
And we're going to go green flag racing again. Right now, Joseph Tice and Kyle Wellman going to pull out in front of the number 44, Ryan Wash and Chase Meredith. The two of those drivers are going to try to keep it in line. Casey Clark going to run 5th right now. And it looks like this start is going to be a little bit better than the last one. We've got a little bit of a jumble up there, but everybody's staying clean so far. Up at the front, they're keeping it clean. They're running the draft right now. And Joseph Tice going to pin it to the bottom. A lot of sparks flying right now as these cars go over those bumps.
Yeah, you could just see him bumping, banging, sliding around on that track. It's crazy that at 200 miles an hour, they're just kind of fitting it in between those cars right there. A lot of mirror driving. These guys are white knuckle. They're having to steer right and left in the middle of this left-hand turn. And, you know, they're just balls for the wall right now.
Absolutely. And this restart, much cleaner than the race start. We see the whole field right now running fairly clean. Very close, very tight racing, but everybody maybe learning from their mistakes. You know what they say, Jason, you can't really win on the first lap, but you can lose on the first lap for sure.
Yeah, I think some of the people have got a crew chief in there now. They're really thinking this thing through and making sure they give us a good race here.
Either that or they got an earful of Brian McRae, race director.
Yeah, either way, we're seeing a drastic change in what's going on the track here. But looks like Matt Ridgway, unfortunately, got some more damage somewhere. The back of that car messed up, but hopefully, if anything, it knocked his spoiler completely off, and he can really get that thing wound up later on.
Yeah, we've got a car around out of turn 2, and Matt Ridgway is going to get connected. A big crash right there. Looked like Stephen Aboigi involved. The 88 of Dalton Kilrow, the caution flag is going to come out.
Car's coming out of the air. Huge crash here.
Zachary Emlett involved. That's Danny Roach going for a ride.
Oh, we had a car frickin' trying to get back onto the track from the backstretch. That's a big mess. That's unfortunate.
Well, this will probably be the last time we have an open race to the public, but for those who are watching us live on eRacing TV, enjoy it while it lasts, because this is going to be the last demolition derby you see at the Super Speedway here at Daytona.
Yeah, all of our big hitters, you know, these guys, you're going to run out of those quick repairs real quick here. But all of our big hitters, you know, we still got some strong drivers in. You know, our vet drivers are starting to shuffle their way into this top 10 rather quickly. They're starting to figure out it's dangerous out there. Of course, Jason Taylor was involved in that second wreck. He's going to be fixing some repairs. And we got a couple other veterans out there that were fixing repairs. Your George Crenshaw took a hard lick on that one. Even went airborne, so he's getting repairs. And Stephen Aboygier, he was involved in that one, but he's in the pits. He's gonna hopefully be getting back out here.
I've got some bad news, Jason. We've got quite a few drivers retire from this event after that crash. Looks like Stephen Aboygi, Jake Moser, Danny Roach, Kenny Miller, Charles Balance, and George Crenshaw, all of them gonna end up retiring from this race. Either they ran out of patience or they ran out of resets. Zachary Emlett also retiring from this event. So that crash definitely thinning the field out quite a bit.
Yeah, that's it's unfortunate how that goes, but you know, that's racing. We knew what we were getting into when we had to reboot the server like that. So that was our sportsman, and now we're back to the veteran drivers and a couple of the shout outs here. So we'll get this race underway and finish this race distance the way we planned it.
Yeah, this would have been a better situation if the open race had all these drivers enter it, and maybe moving forward we could do something like that where we can really kind of quickly figure out who wants to race with us and who doesn't. But for this show, we like to see a good solid group of guys who can run some clean laps. And a lot of damage, a lot of action already early in this race. Possibly, I said the open race was a battle royal. It looks like this race might be the Terror Dome.
Yeah, no, this is pretty intense. But hey, looks like Matt Ridgway, he came out of the pits in a pretty good position there. We'll see. Maybe he got some of that repairs done. Looks like he straightened it up a little bit there. As we check into that, yeah, he's doing a little bit better there. Car looks a little more square than what it was, so he's going to be restarting 6. He'll be looking good. And hey, your Bo Stencil sitting pretty.
Bo said he was going to the front, and I am gonna believe a man when he says that, because you can't just say that and then, you know, crash everyone out in turn 1 and go home with dignity. Bo knows what's up. And Bo is showing him how it's done right now.
I'll tell you what, are you a Bo fan? Like, do we need to talk to Brian after this and make sure Bo gets the golden ticket?
Yeah, we might need to talk to Bo. I mean, I have quickly become a Bo fan. I mean, we're only 10 laps into this 40-lap event. But as we stand right now, Bo is a man of his word, and he's kept his nose clean. So he might be able to bring it home, especially if he can stay out of trouble.
Yeah, well, that's the name of the game right now. I don't think we haven't seen who has speed, who is smart enough to utilize the draft when they need it. Because we've seen that bite both ways in the last race. We saw where the draft benefited people, and we saw where that actually the dirty air got them tight and made the cars go up into the wall. So, you know, there's strategy involved into holding these cars wide open and racing them all the way out like that. So, you know, we'll see who can stay alive and who can use it when it is.
Yeah, and we've got 2 drivers up at the front, Ryan Walsh and Chase Meredith. This is their first time up at the front. Our good buddy Jeff Ward's going to ride 3rd. Brian McRae's going to sit 4th, and Bo Stencil going to round out our top 5 as the pace car is going to hit pit road, and we are going to go back racing here at Daytona. Green flag back in the air. And a very even-keeled start from our leaders. Nobody really got a jump right there. Ryan Wash and Chase Meredith right now. Going to run 1-2. Jeff Ward going to be in third. Brian McRae, Bo Stencil, Matt Ridgway has worked his way back up to sixth. And right there, you see Matt Ridgway and Hayden Wheeler side by side, as Joseph Tice and Nick Akie also side by side. They're going to mix it up to see who can get back up to the front of this field.
Matt Ridgway going to be the meat in the sandwich there. I think he's in a... Oh, he's going to get into Nick Akie, and that's going to sling him around. 3 wide did not work. It got too tight with those cars. Let's see what happened to Nick Akie here.
Yeah, Eugene Tuminello in that Lightning McQueen special got the short end of the stick there, and I think Kyle Wellman may have actually made a little bit of contact with him. Back up at the front of this field, though, they are still trying to get it settled. As right now, Ryan Wash still leading this event. Jeff Ward right behind him, and our boy Bo Stencil going to tuck in behind Jeff Ward on the outside. We've got Chase Meredith, Hayden Wheeler, and Joseph Tice, as Casey Clark is going to go into the mix there in that 36 car. Some great racing right now at the front of this field. Brian McRae also up there with them. And Sam Mazzo, who found himself on his lid in turn 1, he's a lap down right now, but he is running with the leaders up there as well.
Yeah, this is a pretty solid pack right here, but yeah, I don't even know who Bo knows that he's following, but being tucked behind Jeff Ward is not a bad place, not a bad place to be.
Absolutely not. If you get in behind Jeff Ward, you're going to go to the front no matter what track or what car you're in. So that's definitely a good place to be right now. If I were Bo, I'd stay behind that number 55 and just click some laps off. We are 2x2x2. We are doing 215-mile-an-hour pace laps around this track right now. And you can see those cars just dancing around the banking over those bumps. Man, these cars are a handful to drive. Those bias ply tires, Jason. I still think that all race cars should be on bias ply tires. They say radials are the tires of the future, but this is 1987, and those bias plies are where it's at.
Yeah, no, this is some hard racing. We got it zoomed in close here to the leaders. You can see them battling. They're door to door. They're, one will get a nose out, the other one will get a nose out. But these cars are bouncing around, slipping and sliding all over the track. It's a hell of a battle up here. And then they got a whole 200-mile-per-hour parking lot behind them, just waiting for them to slip up and get a chance up front.
Yeah, a lot of drivers jockeying back and forth. We saw Hayden Wheeler there kind of snuck down in front of Bo Stencil, kind of took that inside line away. And we see behind him Brian McRae, and Joseph Tice is definitely back up into the mix. He is in that second lane on the high side in that number 11 car. He's behind Jeff Ward, and he's showing a lot of speed too.
Tell you what, riding on with Joseph Tice here, last season's champion. You can see kind of how rough this track is here. That car kind of bouncing up and down as he's trying to wheel this thing to get it to go around.
Oh, and they're going to make contact. Joseph Tice, Jeff Ward, and Brian McRae going to get the short end of the stick. Brian McRae on his lid. Brian McRae, who is having a great run, had nowhere to go, and he is sitting upside down right now. Joseph Tice rolling off slowly. A lot of damage to them. And this is going to mix things up for sure. Up at the front of the field, it looks like Chase Meredith is going to inherit the lead with Ryan Wash second. Jeff Ward somehow was involved in that accident, and he's going to find himself sitting third, and a big crash behind him. Casey Clark, he's going to go around.
Yeah, we saw him get loose. He was trying to change lanes. We learned that last race. That doesn't work out like that.
Yeah, you've got to really take your time to change lanes. You can't just dart over in these cars. They will get out of shape very, very quick. And Casey Clark learned that the hard way just now. School of Hard Knocks just taught him a lesson in bias ply tires.
Yeah, you got to pick a groove when you get into those turns like that. Whether they're banked like that or not, you're gonna have to pick a top or bottom groove and stick with it. But hey, we see Hayden Wheeler. He's gathering it back up, getting up there. But Bo Stilzel's right there with him, and it looks like they're bringing Andy Stone with them behind him. And that
Andy Stone
machine.
in the 101. And just to point out, Casey Clark came over the radio just a second ago, and he said he had picked up damage in that crash that involved Brian McRae and Joseph Tice. His car had damage, and he said it just didn't handle the same. He went into the corner, and it stepped out on him. So damage for that driver is going to end his chances to win early. And up at the front, we've got a three-way battle for the lead right now. Chase Meredith and Ryan Wash, two drivers, I believe, that are new to this series, are going door-to-door for that lead. And the seasoned veteran Jeff Ward in third right now, trying to decide which lane he wants to go in. Oh, and our leaders. Oh, man.
God, I can't believe they held on to it on that one. Yeah.
Ryan Wash with an amazing save in that number 44. He got it completely sideways. I think he stayed in it, kept his foot in it, and he just kept on going, and he inherited the lead from that. And we are working lap 20 right now. We are going to see a competition caution at lap 25 to kind of regroup and readjust everything. As we stand right now, Ryan Wash in the lead. Chase Meredith going to look to the inside, try to get that lead, and they're just going back and forth in those two cars. Great racing at the front of this field right now.
I'll tell you what, look how much Ryan Wash is staying on the gas in that top side. I mean, now he's got Jeff Ward right on his bumper. He's not going to be able to do a whole lot, but he had that car sliding so much out. That was more than dog track, and he was actually sliding that car. He was dirt tracking around the top side of that track.
Absolutely, and that high line, you can definitely keep your foot in it and carry more speed, but it's a lot harder to do when you got someone tucked up in your back bumper like that. It'll take the air off of that little spoiler, and you're going to have to really get up on the wheel to keep your foot in it. And I'm pretty impressed with these two drivers up at the front of this field, really going back and forth. They're hard-nosed racing, not giving an inch. They're going to come up on a lapped car. I believe that's our guy, Matt Ridgway, with heavy damage to that car. Unfortunate because he had such a fast car all weekend, or all day today. And unfortunately just had some bad luck.
Here we are taking a look through the grill of that 44 machine of Ryan Wash's as he gets right up on the back of Chase Meredith there in the 15.
Yeah, the two of them really, it almost makes me wonder if the two of them have raced together in another series, because they really seem to be trusting each other out there. They're running hard, but they're not doing a lot of damage to each other. Very impressive, but don't look now. We have a new group of cars that have joined this battle for the lead. Oh man, the 15 of Chase Meredith completely sideways. He gathers it back up and he stays in it. Wow.
Yeah, Chase Meredith knows what he's doing. I don't know if he knows Ryan Wash, but those two were definitely trusting each other. But what we just noticed, we know that there's a competition coming at lap 25. We just saw Jeff Ward go into the pits. Whether these cars needed fuel to make it to the end, I believe they did, at least a stop. But he's probably grabbing tires too. And so that's going to let him be able to stay out during this pit stop, inherit that lead, and be racing from the front as we see him now coming back out on the track.
Absolutely, and our leaders are in heavy traffic. Hayden Wheeler, after that kerfuffle, has inherited the lead.
Oh, but he puts the 44 in the wall.
44 in the wall. And don't look now, Jason, but guess who's in second place? That's right, you guessed it, Bo Stenzel in that number 23. And he is going to take a look to the inside of Hayden Wheeler in turn 3.
Wow, he made that stick. He changed from the top groove to the bottom. And now he's trying to pinch off Hayden Wheeler. Looks like Ort just got tied on him with a shove from the 15 car.
Absolutely. He did. I saw the backfire. He definitely got out of the throttle to keep it on the bottom, but I think he just carried a little bit too much and washed up the track, not able to stay in it. Man, these cars put on such a good show at this track. Hayden Wheeler, Bo Stenzel, Chase Meredith back up in it. That's our competition caution right there at lap 25. The caution will come out. Andy Stone with a great run in that 101 car. He's going to be in 4th.
Well, the big question now is going to be who's going for tires, who's going to make a pit stop, who's going to stay out. That's going to change everything up, and I think it's going to mix it up just enough to where we're not going to know kind of, I think the little groups, the drafting groups have started to fill each other out. They're going to know kind of what their plan is for what the lines they're racing. So if the pit stop changes it up enough, it might be a little chaotic going into this next restart.
Well, the thing about these cars is, typically on a super speedway, you don't need to take tires because handling doesn't play a huge factor. But here in these cars, handling plays a huge factor. So taking right side tires, taking 4 tires, taking no tires, all of those are options, but you're going to have to weigh your options heavily because if you don't take tires, come the end of this race, you might be riding around on dirt.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I learned it real quick. As soon as these cars came out, I was in a race with some guys at Atlanta, and we learned out real quick that you can actually blow these tires out. The myth was confirmed for sure. We were blowing out right fronts there at Atlanta, so I think every track is going to seem a little more abrasive, and especially this old Daytona. It's so bumpy. The pavement's old. It really wears down these tires, and that's what they got it programmed to do, and that's what we're seeing out here. So a lot of cars on pit road here.
Yeah, but our leader, Hayden Wheeler, stays out. Ryan Wash also elects to stay out. Everybody else, though, seems to come down pit road. Now, we saw it, Jason, in that first race. I think a lot of drivers thought they could make it on fuel, but we saw them desperately dropping down on pit road with just like a minute left in that race to try to top off. So I'm curious. I mean, it is possible to save fuel in these cars at this track because you can get out of the throttle, but I'm curious to see how much fuel you can save.
Yeah, that's something that I don't know, and I think it's going to be something that these guys don't know, and they're going to learn over this next these preseason races. That was another reason we elected to not jump right into a season. We wanted to make sure even our veterans, even the guys who have been racing in SESRA, had a chance to really learn these cars for good racing. You got to kind of know what the limits are. You got to learn and get used to how fast they're going to use up the tires, burn off gas, all that kind of things, because strategy has always been a big part of SESRA, not just the door-to-door racing, but making it long enough, making guys calculate how many tires they got, how many tires they're going to use, when they're going to pit. All of that comes into a factor and makes it a really entertaining race. So, we had to give these guys enough time to fill out these cars and learn how they're going to race for an entire season.
Absolutely. These cars basically brand new to the service. So not a lot of practice time, not a lot of opportunity to learn the nuances of this vehicle. And, just as well as I do, I may be a racer and I may be a broadcaster extraordinaire, but a crew chief, I am not. So it takes a lot of varied skills to be able to be competitive and successful in a series like SESRA.
Yeah, no, I mean, all you have to be is lucky to win a race. You have to be good to be a champion. There's a reason that we've only got Jeff Ford and Joseph Tice as our Premier Series champions. Those guys are good. They executed their entire seasons perfectly. even when they made a mistake, they were quick on the rebound. They used strategy to get them back in the right place in those races and to make up for any points they could have lost. And that's what it's going to take to win this next season. The Classic Championship is going to be 3,000 points or $3,000 in purses, and that's a lot of money slung around. And you can't just show up every day hoping you got your best game out to win it. It's going to take tons of time to practice, to fill that car out, fill the track out, and time to think about your strategy and how you're going to run that race.
You know, and speaking of strategy, our the man behind the curtain, Jeff Shrewsbury, has told me that most of these drivers have come down and taken a splash of fuel. You need to get a splash of fuel to make it to the end. Our leader, Hayden Wheeler, did not make a pit stop, and either did Ryan Wash. Now, Hayden Wheeler was involved in a crash earlier in this race and got a new car on the reset. So I'm curious to think maybe he does have enough, but there's also a chance maybe he doesn't. So it'll be interesting to see if he can stretch that fuel mileage out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if the backup car came with fuel or not, or if it used the same ones. That's hard to tell.
And green flag back out, but to back to what you were saying, that's what I was trying to figure out. If you reset and get a new car, does it carry the fuel over the load that you had, or does it refresh it to full? So,
well, you got to think about, look at the cars that stayed out. We had Hayden Wheeler leading the race in the 68 right now, and then we had Ryan Wash in the 44. You know, they weren't in the last race. They didn't have the same trial by fire that Jeff Ward, Matt Ridgway, and everyone else had did, and learned that these cars burn fuel fast. So while everyone else got their splash of gas, these two, they could be sitting ducks out here.
Absolutely. They did not experience that. And the two of them are going to go out front. Ryan Wash and Hayden Wheeler right now, but Brian McRae is a lap down, but he is going to try to get it back the old-fashioned way. He's going to try to race around the leaders. And right now, Jeff Ward in that 55 is going to take over the lead. His car's a little damaged, but it's not showing it. He is still very fast out there. But this field is so tight. The number 26 of Elias Tollefson, we haven't talked much about him today. He has found himself up at the front of this field with just about 10 laps to go.
Yeah, that's a real good run. This is definitely where you want to be. All these guys up front. Oh, the 26! He's going to get loose. He's going to get into the 12 and the 15.
And we've got a car, Brian McRae. That's the second time in this race he has ended up upside down. Joseph Tice, and the 83 and Nick Akie going for the kill shot there.
Coming in hot.
I don't think you could come in much hotter without being molten hot lava.
No, I think there's a little more grudge to that one than just coming in hot. I think he was a little upset about something there.
And Tollefson is going to retire from this race. Commentator's curse, Jason. Commentator's curse. I was just talking about how good of a job he was doing. That fourth turn, we saw it in the earlier race, and we've seen it in this race. That fourth turn is so difficult in these cars. He got it sideways, overcorrected, and everybody piled in. Yellow flag going to come back out. Hayden Wheeler at the front. Jeff Ward in second. Ryan Wash third. Bo Stencil running fourth. And Kyle Wellman, who almost won that first race earlier, he was kind of riding near the back of this field, and he has slowly and silently worked his way back up to the top five.
Yeah, we saw him with some early damage right away, but he got that fixed quick, and he is not wasting any time now. Now that we're at the end of the race, we're really seeing what he can do. That car's been fast. We've seen him muscle that thing around both races now. So look for him to be making this hard shot. Bo Stencil, he's got a quote to live up by, or he called his shot. So we got to see him make a run for the front. But the three guys up front are strong racers. We've seen it all Top Flight computer series, and Jeff Ward is a prior Pro Series champion, and Ryan Wash is actually our road racing specialist. He's the SESRA Road Tour champion. So, not having to turn right only makes it half as easy for him. So this is an easy game.
That's an interesting fact. Ryan Wash, I mean, it's if you go to a track like Pocono or, you know, a track where you need some finesse to get around and make a fast lap, the translation there would make sense. But at a track that you're flat out and you're wheeling it, really cool to see Ryan Wash translating his skills from the road course over to this super speedway and doing a hell of a job.
Yeah, no, we've seen him defending up front all the time, and that's something that stands out. You know, it's one thing to know how to get through the traffic, to race your way up front. It's a whole nother ball game to defend that position once you're up there. That's why you see guys like Kyle Wellman. He'll get through the field easy. He'll make it up front in no time. Then you'll see him kind of drop out of line, kind of fall back, and get to where he feels is a safe spot. It's a lot more dangerous. It takes a lot more skill and patience even to know when to make that right move to defend that lead, especially when these guys start controlling lines and jumping in front and making blocks.
Absolutely. And we're going to be going back to green here with just a handful of laps to go. And I'm going to be the one to say it. You know, Hayden Wheeler's in the lead right now, but with the way that these cars drive and the way the draft works, I don't think I want to be leading this race with about a lap to go. I think I'd rather be running second or third. We saw it in that first race. Kyle Wellman had a pretty sizable lead after inheriting the lead, and it all went away quick when Brian McRae just swallowed him up and passed him with just a few feet to go. So right now, if you're in the lead of this race, you're basically a sitting duck.
Yeah, this is it's going to be real hard for Wheeler to pull this one off. We saw him get loose when he was trying to defend earlier. He got loose on the bottom of the track. I don't think he's got a whole lot of experience with someone right there on their bumper. And someone like Jeff Ward, he's going to put that car there. He's going to steal the air off the back of that spoiler. And you got to be able to get up on the wheel and drive that thing. If you're not ready or you haven't got enough experience driving that loose car, you're not going to be able to hold the lead from him.
Absolutely. And just like you said, Jeff Ward is an experienced racer. He knows where to put his car to give himself an advantage. And these cars they get very, very loose when you've got a car tucked up underneath, especially in the corners and through the tri-oval. So taking the air off the spoiler, the old Earnhardt move of yesteryear, that's in play here today. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Jeff Ward try to do just a little bit of that.
Yeah, no, I definitely would. I mean, I don't think anything's up for stake on this first race, especially because it turned into a mixed bag. We had a lot of the open guys come in here. So, you know, it's hard to say what's at stake, but definitely bragging rights. And you know that Hayden Wheeler's going to be in the series. You know Jeff Ward is, Ryan Wash, all those guys up there in the front. So to edge out in front of them and kind of let them know, hey, right now I'm the best in these cars and this is the series we're going to, that's definitely something I'd be trying to do.
And we're about to go back racing. The pace car going to take it down pit road. And Hayden Wheeler going to lead them down to the green flag. Jeff Ward is going to be right there in tow. And, Jeff Ward with a little bit of a spin of the tires. Ryan Wash, I don't know about that restart. Ryan Wash got to the inside. It looked like right at the start-finish line. You can go to the outside, but the inside, I think he might get a black flag.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's got a black flag. I don't know. We're waiting to see what race control says, but he might be having to give that up.
I mean, it looked like Jeff Ward may have spun his tires a little bit, but the rules are the rules. You know, you can go to the outside, but if you try to go up underneath, I mean, I don't think that's going to work. And right now we've got Hayden Wheeler leading Jeff Ward second, but we've got a pack of angry dogs coming to the front of this field. The draft so strong. Just a handful of laps to go. And Jeff Ward going to take a look to the inside of Hayden Wheeler. He's got Ryan Wash behind him, Bo Stencil behind him. On the outside, we have got Hayden Wheeler, the number 9 of Kyle Wellman, and Joseph Tice who has had quite a bit of action. He's crashed twice, but bam, he is back at the front.
That's what I'm talking about. You can win a race being lucky, but to win a championship, you got to be good. And Joseph Tice, he knows how to get back in this position regardless of what happens, and that's what made him a champion. We saw him take a lot of damage early on. He did what he needed to do to fix it and be in the right spot at the end of this race. So now it's just a matter of if he can keep it clean and be up front to make a move on that last lap.
Absolutely. Hayden Wheeler and Jeff Ward both going side by side right now. Up on the high side, Joseph Tice in the 15 car of, that's Chase Meredith. I believe he might be, he has worked his way back up. He started at the back, and he has found himself right now in that third on the inside. He's actually going to duck up underneath and see if he can get underneath Joseph Tice through 3 and 4. Hayden Wheeler is going to take Joseph Tice up to the top of the track. They're going to lose a little bit of momentum there. And the 101 car of Andy Stone has joined the mix. And I'm under the assumption that the 44 of Ryan Wash did not get a black flag. He is... and just talk about it. I am bad luck for these drivers today, Jason.
Yeah, you just happened to say his name as he's trying to slide that thing back out onto the track. Gets it going again. But way out of the race.
Up at the front of the field, we saw him doing it earlier. Chase Meredith got a bump from behind. He got completely sideways, had to get out of the throttle and gathered it back up. He's still in second right now. Hayden Wheeler is in first. And we have got these 5 drivers, Kyle Wellman up there with them as well. Oh, the leader! Hayden Wheeler, the 15 of Chase Meredith, the 11 of Joseph Tice, all of them get together. There's just 2 laps to go. The green flag's still back out. I mean, I don't see a yellow, but right now Jeff Ward is leading this race. He got through unscathed.
Jeff Ward's going to win this race.
I don't know how he made it through that. All of the leaders got jumbled up there, and he just sneaked through. Kyle Wellman looks like he's sitting in second, but he is going very slow. Looks like heavy damage to that car.
Jeff
a lot
Ward
of drivers right now.
Jeff Ward finishing it in dramatic fashion. That was a heck of a show. He ran the gauntlet to get that win, and you know what? If anyone's gonna win it, by God, it might as well be Jeff Ward. He's won just about everything else we can throw at him. Good job for him. That makes 2 wins this week. One yesterday. Tuesday. So he's already on a roll.
Jeff Ward, Kyle Wellman going to roll across in second. Joseph Tice looks like he's going to come home third. Bo Stenzel going to end up fourth. Hayden Wheeler fifth. Those leaders got together. And I'm going to go back and see what happened exactly there. All those leaders got together. The 9 of Kyle Wellman tried the pass in the grass, and it just didn't work. Jeff Ward. You were talking about it earlier, Jason. It's good to be good. It's good to be lucky, but I'm fairly certain our boy Jeff Ward was both good and lucky today.
Yeah, no, he was in the right where he needed to be at the end of it and was lucky enough to survive it there. The 15 and the 68, it came down to they were going to have to throw blows for one of them to get out in front of each other, and they kind of wadded up the leader pack, and Jeff Ward was just in the prime spot to make it through that thing. So, good on him. Let's see, is he in here? Can we talk about, he said last race when he got wrecked out early that he was going to try to go for a win. Let's bring him in here. At least talk to the winner before we close on out.
Jeff Ward You just won yourself the first SESRA Classic race here at Daytona. Tell me a little bit about how much skill and how much luck was involved in that victory.
Yeah, how about that, man? It was a little bit of, you got to have a little bit of everything to drive these cars here at this old Daytona track. It's pretty tough. They're coming down to the end. I just, I moved up a little bit and it looked like the 15 come down just a little bit. And we kind of met in the middle and it just caused a big pile up behind us and then was able to sneak through there. But man, what a race. A lot of chaos and also some good racing at the same time. So these cars are a lot of fun here. I'm looking forward to when the actual season starts because I think we're gonna have a good time.
I tell you what, you were up at the front, got involved in some stuff, got shuffled back a little bit, ended up at the front again, then got shuffled back a little bit, and then all those leaders got together coming off of 4, and you were able to sneak through. I mean, was that a little bit of skill, a little bit of luck? Did you know where to put it, or were you just hoping that it worked out?
Yeah, these cars are so fast, man. When you're doing 200, 210 mile an hour, you ain't got much time to think. So a lot of the time, it's just luck, and was able to squeak through a couple times there. And they're also built like a tank. I mean, we got left front damage, and it seemed like it didn't even hardly affect the race car. Almost made me even more tighter going into the turns where I wasn't breaking loose. So yeah, what a race, and that was pretty cool.
Do you have any sponsors you want to thank after that awesome victory?
Yeah, thank you guys up there in the booth. I'm sure you have fun with that one. Top Flight Computers, Modern Spartan Systems, TVT Green Oil Additives, Dr. Squatch. I'm sure I'm leaving out somebody, but I like to try to get them all in there. Arctic Coolers, Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale, and I think Dad's there watching in another room, so give a shout out to him.
Thank you so much, Jeff Ward. Always great to be up in the booth with you, and also great to sit up here and watch you do your best turning that wheel. You really showed them how to do it today, and hope to see you back at the track or up here in the booth with us very, very soon.
Yes, sir. We'll see you guys.
Thanks, Jeff. All right, Jason, I think we're going to take a turn talking with our second place finisher, Kyle Wellman. Kyle, you did a very good job in both of these races. Came up second place earlier today. Came up second place here today. What more would it have taken to get you in victory lane?
I would say about 15 feet.
15 feet, yeah. You know, in that first race, you definitely passed Brian with a head of steam down the backstretch after he pit, but he was able to draft back around you with about 15 feet to go. And then here today, you tried to pull the old slide job on Jeff. You were completely sideways through the tri-oval, but still almost came home with the victory. From your perspective, I mean, that sort of race, we had a lot of new faces and a lot of raw talent out there. Is that sort of race stressful for you, or is it a little bit of fun?
It was stressful until that last lap, honestly. Just that last lap after Joseph took us 3 wide, I knew they were going to wreck, so I just backed out of it. And sure enough, they wrecked. And I just parted the seas and tried to get past Jeff. I never even let out of the gas. But I tell you what, if I would have won, that would have been the new pass in the grass right there.
Oh, absolutely. I called it as the pass in the grass. I mean, you were going for it, and it was a photo finish with you sideways, but Jeff just sneaked ahead of you there at the finish. Now, how much did that first race give you a little bit of confidence and practice going into this race?
Not even just the first race. The practices we've had all week I've been really good here, and I've figured out how to handle the car and where to put the car at certain times. But the first race definitely helped. I definitely think I could have won if Brian didn't have a better engine than me.
Yeah, you know, we might have to take it to impound and talk to the official. The unfortunate thing is Brian is also the official, so maybe maybe take it to someone else. Kyle, great run today. Do you have any sponsors? Anybody you want to thank?
I'd like to thank you guys up in the booth first and foremost for putting on a great show on TV. I'd like to thank ARC Performance. I'd like to announce that actually this week I'm officially part of their race team here in Billings, Montana. So big shout out to them, Pat Salway and Steve Berg.
That is awesome. You said the ARC?
Yep, ARC, Advanced Racing Cars.
Advanced Racing Cars. So Kyle Wellman, a part of that ARC team now. That's pretty big news for anybody watching here on TV or watching at home. Thank you so much, Kyle, and I'm very, very much looking forward to see what you can do in these cars moving forward. You definitely have figured something out. You've been at the front the whole time, so good luck moving forward.
Thank you, sir. That was a heck of a show. I hope we can keep it up this year.
Thanks, Kyle. And I think now we're going to take a talk with our third place finisher, Joseph Tice. Joseph, you had a fast car, but you also involved in about 3 or 4 accidents throughout the course of that race, but you still were able to work your way back up to the front. Tell me a little bit about your perspective in this, what we were talking, me and Jason were calling this the Sportsman Special.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. Yeah, I qualified on pole. I think I led about the first 10 or so laps, and then I decided to pick because I knew if we went green, fuel was going to be an issue, so I didn't want that to matter. And then I think I got caught up in a mess that didn't turn out to be a caution, so that put me, by the time the competition caution came out, it put me a lap down. But I got my lap back, got my damage fixed, and it was on from there.
Yeah, you definitely showed a lot of speed, and you were putting yourself in the position to try to steal this win away. But unfortunately, it looked like you may have gotten caught up in that last lap scuffle coming off of turn 4, but we're still able to get across the line in third. Were you kind of anticipating that action on the last lap?
Well, I kind of figured something would happen. I was trying a couple laps earlier. I went 3 wide through the middle, and that worked. And then I was trying to work on Hayden, and Hayden did a really good job blocking. I was trying to go to the outside, tried to sneak through the middle again, and he did a really good job blocking. And so by me trying to pass him, knowing how hard he was blocking, I was figuring there might be something happen on the last lap. And man, I thought I had it there for a while. I saw the seas part, and then all of a sudden it closed up again, and I went through the grass, and I was looking out of my passenger side window to see if I could beat Jeff through the grass, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, we had 2 drivers going through the grass trying to beat you, and Kyle were both sideways through the grass trying to beat Jeff to the line. An incredible finish to what was a very crash-filled, action-packed race. As a seasoned veteran here at SESRA, what were your thoughts on having some of those new guys kind of come in and try to run with you guys?
Well, when you get new guys in here, you want to try to test them out, make sure, they know what they're doing and they're not doing kind of dumb things. And, several of them I was pretty pleased and pretty impressed with, so it's just kind of, the whole veteran versus rookie thing. They're always kind of being graded. And yeah, I did see some really good stuff out there.
Well, Joseph, do you have any sponsors you want to thank? We know that we're going to see you at the front of this series probably for the rest of the season. So we want to let our fans watching at home know that you're one of the guys to watch. So what are some of the sponsors, some of the people that help you out?
Well, first and foremost, I got to thank Modern Spartan Systems and for being on the car, and they've been a sponsor with me for, this will be going into the second full season of SESRA here. So really great guys, really great products. Got to thank my teammates at AR Sim Sport. Thank Matt and Brian or Jason and Brian for being admins and doing what they do. And thank you guys for broadcasting. And as always, I got to thank my wife for giving me a couple hours every Thursday night to come hang with the boys and have a little fun.
That's our third place finisher, Joseph Tice. Joseph, I'm very much looking forward to see what you do with the rest of the season in these cars. Doesn't matter what we're driving, you're always at the front, and I can't wait to see what you can do with it.
Yeah, this will be a fun season for sure. I love these things.
Thank you so much, Joseph. That was Joseph Tice, our third place finisher. Jason, tell me, what are your thoughts after this race?
Well, I think everyone would have liked to see what the veterans would have looked like at a super speedway, but we're going to have to wait for the full season. We are going to go to Talladega in 2 weeks. Next week is going to be at Auto Club Speedway. So we're going to have the issues with the server worked out. I believe our crack team of programmers, we've already knocked all that out, have it all sorted, ready to go. So next week we're going to have the open first, and then just the veterans, and we'll see what they do, mano a mano, if you will. So, but as far as tonight, man, it was an awesome race. We really saw him test the boundaries. We saw him kind of push these new guys around, and we saw who had the biscuit to risk it. And Bo, our buddy Bo, I mean, I hope he's sticking around. He kept it clean. He was racing real good, and sounds like he's already got a personality on him. So hopefully we get him up here in the booth next week. Hopefully we get him at Auto Club next week, and we see what he's got on a speedway.
Yeah, Bo wasn't. He didn't turn up for the open race earlier, but I think if he had, he'd have made that transfer over. He started at the back of this field, and he kept his nose clean, and he did a really good job. So, Bo Stenzel with a nice top 5 finish. Hayden Wheeler, a regular in the series, finishes 5th. We want to thank everyone at home for watching us on eRacing TV. The SESRA Classic Series. Definitely join in when we go to Auto Club next week, Talladega the week after. I guarantee you're going to see a lot of action, a lot of familiar faces. And thank you so much for joining us here in 1987. For Jason Anderson, my partner in crime up here in the booth, I'm Steve Roswick. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.